3 weeks ago, I challenged myself to win 3 of the worst teams in world football today, the Champions League. First up was Hyderabad FC from India, then it was UCD Dublin from Ireland. And now to complete the challenge, I'm travelling all the way down to League 2 in England to take over Forest Green Rovers. They finished rock bottom of League 2 this year, making them England's worst side in FC24. But it's now my mission to, by the end of this video, win them the Champions League to crown them the world's best club. So here is the default starting 11 we've loaded into with the worst team in England, and I've got to say, whilst it's better than Hyderabad and UCD Dublin, that does not make it a good team in the slightest. But having thoroughly gone through the squad up, ladies and gents, I have spotted a couple of players that do look pretty promising. Like centre midfielder Charlie McCann, only 21, 62 overall. He looks like a very decent player. There's Marcel Lavigne, only 22, 61 overall, also looks like a pretty solid player too. And there's Kyle McAllister and also Jordan Garrick, who both look very good players too. But as you can see from the contract situation, ladies and gents, we sorted out the loan moves. Everybody who's out on loan from us is back at the club, and everybody who's on loan to us is back at their parent club. And weirdly enough, that's given us an extra million to work with in season 1, so we've now got 3 mil in total for our first year in charge of Forest Green Rovers. But despite the budget being increased, it is going to take a long time before we make these guys the world's best team, but we got to take this one step at a time. And the first step is putting my spin on things, so I'm using the 4-4-2 flat formation. I've looked at this squad and I think overall this is the formation that suits our team the best. And I think for the first season or two, we're going to park the bus, guys. We are the worst team in England after all. We got to defend like mad and hopefully try to hit teams on the break. And after quickly meddling around with the team, this is, in my opinion, our strongest starting 11 that we can feel prior to making any signings, that is. But before we think about making any signings, there's a couple of things I want to do. Firstly, I want to sell and loan out every single player I've got on the transfer list. Once we sort this out, then we can focus on bringing more talent into the team. And for the most part, as you can see, I've managed to get rid of pretty much every single player I wanted to on that transfer list. Unfortunately though, the budget hasn't really budged at all. 3 mil is all we've got to spend, but that is still pretty decent for a League 2 side. We've just got to now figure out where we're going to put that money, because if we spend it right, we can definitely take Forest Green Rovers from the bottom of League 2 to maybe a mid-table finish. Now, for starters, we absolutely need a better keeper than Jamie Searle. I mean, he's 54 overall, man. This guy's just woeful. I also want to bolster our midfield. McCann is a decent player, as I've already said, but Maddox, on the other hand, I don't really want this guy in the team. And finally, I'm going to bring in a centre-back, because I'm looking at the centre-backs we've already got right now, and all 3 of them are absolute garbage. But we've got to be careful, guys. Not only are we the worst team in England, we've only got 3 million to spend, so we've got to be pretty damn strategic on who we spend this money on. But I think the first signing we've made is absolutely spot on, as we've spent 420,000 on goalkeeper Toby Savin. He's still only 22 years old and he's 62 overall. He's not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but for 420k, I think he's a bit of a bargain. Now, as for the centre half I'm after, I'm going for Anja Husu from POW FC. He's 19, he's 6'2", 63 overall. He looks like a bit of a monster in the making. And following him is Santiago Castaneda, an American midfielder from MSV Duisburg. I mean, at only 18, he's a very good player already, and signing him alongside Husu may just secure us a mid-table finish after all. And for the combined total of £2 million, we signed both of these youngsters on 5-year deals to conclude season 1's transfer window. And looking at the team now, guys, I don't know about you lot, but I definitely feel like we ain't finishing bottom of League 2. If we do, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked. I mean, in fairness, we haven't got off to a good start in League 2. We've lost our bloody first game in charge. However, if this team performs like I think it can, and it improves like I think it should do, we should, by the end of this season, look pretty good going into our second year in charge. And you know what, guys? Judging by the looks of these stats, I think we've done all right. I mean, especially when you consider the fact we played a very defensive tactical vision this season. And on top of that, the individual development is looking pretty solid as well. Everybody's come on leaps and bounds. However, on paper, they don't look happy in the slightest. Literally not a single player is happy in the starting team, so it's got to make you wonder how we've actually done in the league. Well, this is bizarre. Everybody's unhappy, yet we finished just outside the playoffs. They should be absolutely over the moon with that. They've gone from rock bottom to outside the playoffs, for goodness sake. Maybe they're not happy about the contracts or game time, but one thing's for certain, they can't be unhappy with how we've done in League 2, man, because we've done phenomenally well. But in the FA Cup, it's a different story. We crash out in round 1. But we did have a decent Carabao Cup from making it to round 4 before getting knocked out by Man United. You know what? I will definitely take that. But we dropped a stinker in the BSM Trophy, finishing rock bottom of our group. I tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Unless we make it past round 3 of a competition, I'm just not going to show you. But overall, I think we've had a very successful first year in charge. We're just outside the playoffs when in real life they finished rock bottom, and we made it to round 4 of the Carabao Cup, for goodness sake. However, I feel like if we are to get from our position to the playoffs, maybe even automatically promoted, we are going to have to switch things up next year. For starters, we're dropping the part of the bus tactical vision, man. We're too good to be playing defensively. And on top of that, we need a stronger right back than Robertson and maybe a stronger striker than Omotoye up top. And I personally think once we sort those 3 things out, we take Forest Green Rovers out of League 2. But before we go any further, guys, if you're enjoying me rebuilding the worst team in England right now, be sure to leave this video a big old thumbs up and smash that subscribe button if you're new. Well, ladies and gents, we've just arrived into Season 2 of Forest Green Rovers, and we've just made, in my opinion, an absolutely game-changing signing. As I've just signed Bristol City striker Seb Palmer Holden for only 990,000. He's only 20, already 63 rated. I've got a strong suspicion he's going to absolutely tear it up in League 2. And that still leaves us quite a bit of money to spend, 3 million in total. And like I said last year, I want a stronger right back than Robertson, but I also this time want a stronger centre back than Moore Taylor. He's not got much left in his tank to give, and he's only 64 overall. I reckon we could find a stronger centre back in League 1, or maybe even in League 2. And I was absolutely bang on. Radinho Bolka is better than Moore Taylor in every way imaginable. He's in his mid-20s, 69 overall. He is absolutely rapid, and he's 6'4". We are absolutely signing this guy. But it's come to my attention that we don't need a new right back for now. We've actually got one in Fan Katie Dabo. I mean, as you can see, he's 63 overall. Granted, he's 28, but he's growing at a very quick rate. And that means we'll have money left over once we sign Bolka, and I'm not in any position to throw that kind of money down the drain whilst I'm after a promotion. So instead of going for a right back, I'm going for a right midfielder instead, because Kyle McAllister, as you can clearly see, it'll take him 47 weeks to become a better right midfielder, and quite frankly, when we're after promotion, we can't have that. And believe me, guys, I have found the perfect replacement. Tom Bloxham from Shrewsbury's only 20, already 65 overall, and I've got a sneaky little suspicion we could turn him into our endgame right midfielder. And that wraps up Season 2's transfer window, as I spent a combined total of 2.8 million on both of these players. And looking at this team now, guys, I absolutely believe we've got a shot at promotion. It won't be automatic. If we do get promoted, it'll be via the playoffs. And considering the fact that last year with a far weaker team than what we've got now, we just missed out on the playoffs, I feel like this year it's absolutely guaranteed that we make it inside it this time. But I was wrong, guys. We didn't make it inside the playoffs. Instead, we are automatically promoted. We only just missed out on winning the League 2 title by goal difference as well. I can't put into words how amazed I am that we've actually pulled this off, because there's one thing I forgot to do, and that was to change our tactics from part of the bus to something else. But you've got to bear in mind, we've just got promoted automatically, convincingly as well, from League 2 to League 1. So you know what that old saying is, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. However, the best we did in cup competitions this year was round 2 of the FA Cup before we got knocked out by Crewe Alexander. So that just goes to show how poorly we did domestically. But guys, I'm looking at this team right now, and believe me when I say I am the furthest thing away from being surprised that we've been automatically promoted now. I mean, Bulk has gone up to 72 overall. Ahusu is 72 rated himself, 71 overall blocks, and he's gone up by 6 ratings this year. What a bloody signing. And he was actually our top goal contributor as well, as he got 20 goals, 9 assists in 52 games. What a debut for Tom Bloxham. And the craziest part about all this, prior to this season beginning, I thought for sure the best we get was the playoffs, but now look at us, automatically promoted to League 1. And to be honest, guys, I'm looking at who's in League 1 right now, and I'm not scared at all. In fact, I'm quite confident that if we make the right signings, we get the right amount of budget, we could get back-to-back promotions. But whether that's the case or it isn't, one thing is for certain, we are officially a League One team now. But unfortunately, that hasn't affected our budget as we've only got 4 mil to spend. But to be fair, we can do a lot with 4 mil in League One. And I'm looking at this team right now, guys, and for the most part, it is looking very solid. But there are 2 players that I would like to replace. And those players are Lavinia, our left back, and our right back, Dabo. They are the 2 weakest players in the starting 11. And once we bring in better fullbacks, we may secure our spot in the playoffs in League One this year. And I think I found a decent left back, guys. Steven Sessegnon from Wigan Athletic in his mid-20s, 69 overall, got potential to grow quite a bit as well. This guy looks like a beast. And following him is Peter Kioso from Rotherham United. He's the exact same age as Steven Sessegnon and got the same ability level as well. And there we go, guys. For 2.9 million combined, we signed both of these players on 4-year deals. And with those signings, that defensive lineup looks so much stronger going into League One, man. I genuinely feel like we've got a shot again promotion again this year, man. I know that sounds far-fetched, but you never know. I mean, last year I only called that we'd get into the playoffs, but we actually got automatically promoted, and here we are in League One. And let's be honest, it's not the end of the world if we don't get promoted, guys. We just regroup, see what went wrong, and then improve upon it in Season 4, and then hope for the best. But guys, our promotion dreams are still alive as we're in the playoffs alongside Sheffield Wednesday, Blackpool, and Wrexham. But never mind the playoffs for a second, look at the freaking table. We legitimately missed out on automatic promotion by 6 goals. Are you taking the mick? I am so gutted about that, man. If we don't get promotion via the playoffs now, that would be the biggest kick in the balls going. But hang on, we've beaten Wrexham in the semi-finals 3-2, and we're playing Blackpool in the final. And looking at that team, they've got a couple of decent players like Joseph up top, Casey at the back, but I don't think that team holds a candle to ours. I mean, look at the state of that starting 11. Never mind the championship, some of these players belong in the Prem. But let's not jump the gun. We've got to get to the championship first. Oh, we thank you! Blocks him in the 50th minute. What a player he's been for us since we signed him last year, man. He's got us promotion to the championship. And it just gets better as we made it to the quarters of the BSM trophy before getting knocked out by Lincoln. It's a bit of a shame that we didn't win this whilst we could, but you know what? I don't really care. We've got bigger fish to fry now. And that fish in particular is the championship, and looking at the team still in the championship next year is not going to be as easy as League One. But then again, you look at this team, you bring in a stronger left midfielder and a stronger goalie, and we may just scrape another playoff position. Especially when we've got Tom Bloxham in the team. He's got 20 goals and 11 assists from 57 games this year, man. When we're parking the bus and he's a right midfielder, that is actually insane. But going into Season 4, there is that big question. Can Bloxham and this Forest Green Rovers team do what they've done this year, just in a tougher league? Well, we're going to find out, guys, because we're now into Season 4 in our first year in the Championship. One really good year of football away from the top flight of English football. And we've got our best budget yet, guys, 8 million in total. However, not all of this money's come from the board. As you can see, guys, I have gone ahead and sold quite a few players that I'm just not going to use from now on. And altogether, guys, we've got quite a decent amount of money for them. And I think if we spend this correctly, we legitimately stand a decent chance of getting back-to-back promotions. Now, I said last year I want a stronger left midfielder and I'd like a better goalkeeper than Savin. But having gone through the squad up, I'd like a better striker than Matthew Stevens. I mean, we've got Palmer Holden up top who's killing it, and I feel like to get the best out of Palmer Holden, we need someone better than Matthew Stevens. So in hindsight, it's a good job I sold all these players, because quite frankly, we're going to need all the money we can get our hands on in order to pull this off. Well, starting back to front, I found Obed Nakambadio from Millwall. He's 6'3", 23, 73 overall, and his contract's running out, and we all know what that means. And following him is Argentinian left midfielder Mateo Sanabria, who's only 22, but he's 72 overall, and quite frankly, he looks like an absolute beast in the making. And after spending a total sum amount of 6 million combined on both of these players, they now play for us. But now we only have 1 mil to find a striker, and frankly, I don't like our chances of finding a striker with 1 million better than Stevens. So I think it's time we head to the free agents list to see if it can't bail us out. And it absolutely has. Mathis Abley, and he's 23, 75 overall. Yeah, you better believe I'm signing this guy up. And with the free agent signing of Mathis Abley, that concludes our first transfer window in the Championship. And hopefully it's our last transfer window in the Championship, because this team, quite frankly, I do feel like is strong enough to get into the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, I know that the Championship's our biggest test yet, because we're coming up against teams that have just been in the Premier League. However, at this point, I know better than to doubt the boys. Honestly, I'm backing them to get promotion once again. Guys, I'm absolutely gutted. We were so close to the playoffs, man. Literally 1 point and 1 goal difference away. But unfortunately, as a newly promoted team, it was just too much to ask. But I am proud as punch of Forest Green Rovers. If this is what we can do as a newly promoted side in the Championship, imagine what we can do next year. And this time, we've actually had a great FA Cup run, making it to round 4 before getting knocked out by Leeds. But we've dropped an absolute stinker in the Carabao Cup. But I'm looking at this team and I can't help but feel proud of them, man. As a newly promoted side, just missing out on the playoffs. Do you know how mad that is? And look at these stats, man. Bloxham once again being our top goal contributor with 31 goal contributions in 50 games. 19 and 2 for Matthew Stevens. Why is he getting game time over Adley? But Seb Palmer Holden got 18 and 4, 12 and 2 for Mathis Adley, and 5 and 10 assists for Charlie McCann himself. I feel like next year we need another clear out, guys, because there's certain players in this team that's getting game time that shouldn't be getting game time, and quite frankly, I reckon that let us down a bit this year. I mean, for goodness sake, we brought in a new keeper to replace Toby Savin, and Toby Savin ended up playing 27 more freaking games than him. And it's the same story up top. We brought in Ablin to replace Stevens, and Matthew Stevens ended up playing 12 more games than him anyway. Like I said, we need a massive clear out. We need to get as much money as possible and throw everything at this team so that next year we don't beat around the bush with the playoffs, we get automatic promotion. And as you can probably tell, guys, as we enter season 5, I've been a little bit busy. I have sold a lot of players that quite frankly we don't need, or quite frankly I don't want anymore. And because of this, we've got 14 million in our budget to spend, and we've got to get promoted with this kind of money, man. If we don't, I don't deserve to be in charge of Forest Green Rovers. Now, because we've just sold McCann, we need a stronger midfielder than Maddox, because Maddox just isn't a midfielder. I'm confident in leaving in this starting 11. And I'm also going for a stronger left back than Steven Sessegnon, because as you can see, it'll take him 60 weeks to become a better left back. And if we are serious about promotion this year, this is the last thing we need to worry about if we do get it. So with that in mind, I just spent 8 million on a Premier League experienced left back in Brighton's very own Alex Valley. He's 76 overall at 23 years old. Not only is this guy far better than Sessegnon, he's still got a lot of time to improve as well. And this leaves us 5 mil to find a midfielder, but don't worry, I have found the perfect replacement for Charlie McCann. And his name is Bobby Clark. He plays for Sheffield United. He's only 22 years old, but he's 73 overall. And quite frankly, guys, I feel like with the right training plan, we can develop this guy into a really good midfielder. And just like that, for 3.8 million, not only have we signed Bobby Clark, but we've wrapped up Season 5's transfer window. And as I'm looking at the team right now, I'm feeling fairly confident that we've done enough to get out of the Championship and into the Prem now. It's not going to be easy though, guys. Bournemouth are in the Championship, so are Leicester City, and so are Southampton. But this time we've made the relevant improvements. We've had a massive clear out, meaning that everybody in this starting 11 should be the players that are playing every single game this year. And if that is the case, hopefully this is our time to get promoted. And guys, it just might be, as we are in the playoffs this time alongside Norwich, Southampton and Bournemouth. But very quickly, look at the bloody top two. Leicester with 107 points winning the Championship, with Sheffield United getting 102 points finishing second. Fair play. But guys, it's good news for us, as in the semis we've beaten Southampton 2-1 on aggregate, and we are playing Norwich City in the playoff final. Now looking at that team, I don't know enough of their players to make an actual judgment on if we're going to comfortably beat them or if they're going to annihilate us. But I can see our team, and I know I say this quite often, but that team is a Premier League side waiting to be a Premier League side. Let's just hope that they can get the job done and get the dub to get promoted. Yes, we have! Oh my god, Omar Toye in the 85th minute's done it for us. What an absolute legend. Bloxham got a brace in the first half. Of course it was Bloxham. Omar Toye finished it off in the 85th. We are officially Premier League with Forest Green Rovers. Get in. But I'm not surprised, because it's like I've already said, that team right there was a Premier League side waiting to become one, and finally it's happened. But we're still a fair while away from being an FA Cup winner, as this time we only made it to round 4. And it's safe to say that the less we talk about the Carabao Cup, the better. But as you can see from the stats, it's once again Tom Blackson with 18 goals, 9 assists in 50 games, being our top goal contributor. By the way, what a signing he's been since he's joined us. He's been amazing every year. And we're going to need him to be amazing for at least one more year, as we're with the big boys of England now. Man City, Liverpool, not the bottle jobs, Arsenal, and of course Chelsea. And granted, I've said this is a Prem side waiting to be one, but that doesn't mean we're going to do comfortably well in the Premier League next year. We do need the budget to be on our side, and we do need to make some signings, otherwise we will struggle in our first year in it. But here we are, guys, 6 years after taking over Forest Green Rovers, we've got them into the top flight of English football. But we've been shafted by the board, guys, because with that promotion hasn't come promotion money. We've only got 31 million to spend. That's nowhere near enough. And yes, you could say we could sell a couple of players on, but all the players that we could sell for the amount of money that we need are our best players right now, and frankly, I'm not willing to do that. I feel like the best course of action is to put all this 31 mil into one really good signing. And I know this is going to sound harsh, but I feel like replacing Nkambadio with a proper, well-rounded, experienced goalkeeper is absolutely what we need to do. I mean, our back four this year are going to get annihilated. There's no questions about that, but if we have a proper keeper in between the sticks, it may not matter all that much. And I think Gavin Bazunu is perfect. He's 82 overall already, in his mid-20s, so there's room for improvement still, and he's already playing for Everton, which means he's got that Premier League experience that, quite frankly, we desperately need in the team. But he wasn't cheap in the slightest. In fact, he's our most expensive player to date, as we've just spent 27 million to sign Gavin Bazunu on a 5-year deal. And he is hoping that Bazunu can indeed help us survive our first year in the Premier League, because quite frankly, if he doesn't, that's just a waste of 20 odd million, isn't it? Well, it's safe to say he's not a waste of money, and please don't ask me how we pulled this off. We are top 6 as a newly promoted side in the Prem. Now, looking at this team, obviously we've got our strengths. We've got Sanabria, we've got Palmer Holden, Bloxham, we've got Bazunu, but that surely is not enough to carry us to a top 6 finish. All I can say is the 4-4-2 flat, married with the part the bus tactical vision, is genuinely overpowered as hell, and it's taken me the entirety of FC24 to realise this. I mean, look at this, we made it to the quarters of the FA Cup, just losing out to West Ham, for goodness sake. But it's not overpowered enough to get us past round 2 of the Carabao Cup. But man, I'm looking at these stats. Bobby Clark, Sanabria, Palmer Holden, Ablin, fair play, boys. And I've just realised as well, top 6 football gives us Europa League football. In our first season in the Prem, we've qualified for Europe. That is absolute insanity. The problem is though, we're not ready for Europe, and if the board don't give us the money we need to actually compete in Europe, we're going to get absolutely annihilated in season 7. It's official, we're going to get annihilated. We've only been given 23 million. Forest Green Rovers board of directors, are you taking the piss, lads? What are you playing at? I know what the problem is. They're not striving high enough. They only want a mid-table finish and for us to get to the round of 16 in the FA Cup. Honestly, after what we did last year, you'd think their expectations should be a little bit higher. And before you start thinking it, no, I'm not selling any one of these players, because quite frankly, we're not in a position to. I mean, for example, if we sold Blocks and we've got to replace his position and then spread that money across the entire team, it just isn't enough money. So somehow we've got to figure out a way to utilise this 23 million to its absolute fullest and not get our backsides handed to us in the Europa League. Now, I've given this some thought, and I'm going to put this money into our back line, guys, especially with us being in the Europa League. Bazunu's going to need some help. So I've gone ahead and signed yet another Brighton defender, Igor, for 16 million. I know he's 31 years old, so we won't get many years out of him, but he's 81 overall, and he'll give us that security we need at the back. I've also dived into the free agencies because, quite frankly, we need a bit of depth, so I'm going to sign Jadal Katongo, and I'm also going to sign Tarek Buckman as well. And there we go, the team looks like this now. I mean, we're definitely not going to be doing what we did last year. That was a complete and utter fluke. However, I would like to think we can be at least a bit competitive. I definitely think signing Eagle will help us do that, especially in the Europa League as well. And to be honest, if we have a good showing in the Europa League, the board may actually take notice of that and actually back us next year. I mean, it's got to happen at some point, hasn't it? We can't keep going how we are right now, doing the bare minimum with this team and expecting a lot from it. We need backing from the board if we are to take this team to that next level. Maybe we don't though, because it wasn't a fluke last year. We are once again in the top 6, and if it wasn't for goal difference, we'd have actually got Champions League football next season. I don't know how we're pulling this off, man. The Port the Bus partnered with the 4-4-2 flat must be overpowered as hell. To be fair though, this time we did only make it to round 3 of the FA Cup. And whilst we did get to round 4 of the Carabao Cup, we got knocked out by the bottle jobs. We are moving swiftly on. And we're moving on to the Europa League, where we were in Group F alongside FCSB, a team whose name I'm not even going to try and pronounce, and Victoria Pleasant. And as you can see, we comfortably made it through. But Monaco stopped us in the prelim round in a penalty shootout. That's bloody gutting, man. Come on. I don't understand how we're pulling this off. We're a good team, don't get me wrong, but we're not top 6 good just yet. Oh. But then again, as you can tell from the stats, our front four are bagging goals for fun. 26 and 5 for Palmer Holden, 20 and 6 for Abilene, 11 and 10 for Sanabria, and 9 and 9 for Bloxham. Surely though, this means that next year we're going to get back by the board. Back-to-back top 6 finishes, prelim round at the Europa League, and we made it to round 4 of the Carabao Cup as well. I mean, we were literally 1 point away from playing Champions League football for Season 8, man. If the board don't back us next year, I want new board of directors, man, because these lot are a joke. But thankfully, it's taken 8 years, but the board have finally backed us. We've got 95 million to spend. Thank the Lord for that. We can now finally start elevating Forest Green Rovers to that next level. Imagine how good this team's going to look once that 95 million's been spent. But guys, I'm going to take this opportunity to get as much money together as humanly possible now that the board have backed us. I'm putting Katongo on the transfer list alongside Buckman and of course Castaneda. I mean, once these 3 have all sold, hopefully we'll have like 120 to 150 million in our budget. And if that is the case, all we need to do is spend it right, and we've got UCL football next year guaranteed. So guys, I managed to sell Katongo for 25.8 million and Buttman for 13.4 million, but Castaneda really did not want to get sold. And it wasn't for the lack of trying. Liverpool I accepted, Chelsea accepted, Athletic Bilbao I accepted. It's just this little prick did not want to move. But regardless, we've now got 130 million to spend, and hopefully this will be enough to get us into the Champions League next year. And I think it's obvious where I want to put that money, guys. I want a new right back, I want a new centre-back, and I definitely want to replace this little twerp in the midfield too. And the centre-back I'm going for is phenomenal, guys. Riccardo Calafiori from Mainz. He's 28, 85 overall. I mean, he's just going to elevate our defence to that next level, isn't he? And following him is Lucharel Gertrude, who's currently playing for Brentford of all teams, but he's 30, 84 overall, and exactly what we need at the back. And there we go, for the combined total of £84.4 million, both Gertrude and Calafiori now play for Forest Green Rovers, leaving us 40 million to replace Castaneda in that midfield, and I have found the perfect replacement. Patrick Herman, who's playing for Everton, he's 19, 79 overall. He's a bit expensive, however, I have found a way to get rid of Castaneda because I'm going to throw him into this deal as well. And with Castaneda and 25 mil, I'm pretty sure Deitch is going to go for this. I could be wrong though. What's he going to say? Nope, he's agreed. There we go. Lovely jubbly. We finally got rid of him. And there he is in the Forest Green Rovers kit. Ladies and gents, he's also an exciting prospect. We've hit the jackpot with Patrick Herman. However, whilst the starting 11 is looking absolutely phenomenal, our bench on the other hand in squad depth is looking a little bit bare to say the least. So I've gone on the free agents list and scouted a whole bunch of players purely for squad depth. I'm going to sign all these guys up and make sure that our bench is actually filled with some decent quality at the very least. And just like that, look at the improvement on our bench. I know that the players that we brought in aren't amazing, but they're certainly better than what we once had. Something tells me this year is going to be our most successful one yet, man. If the last 2 years we've got back-to-back top 6 finishes, hopefully this year is finally the season we scrape into that top 4. And we've finally done it! We are inside the top 4 by 2 points. Ladies and gents, Forest Green Rovers from next year onwards will be playing UCL football. Get in! That took us way too freaking long, but you know what? Better late than never. We've also topped our Europa League group stage, man. That is a very good sign. And I was absolutely right about that. We've freaking won the Europa League as well, beating Atletico Madrid to do it. That's a massive statement. Ladies and gents, we have become the real deal in Europe, man. I'm telling you this for nothing. Next year in the Champions League, we're going to be the dark horse. I mean, look at these stats, for goodness sake. 25-3 for Palmer Holding, 21-3 for Abilene, 10-13 for Bloxham, and 9-10 for Bobby Clark. What's blown my mind as well, guys, we've done all this with the most defensive and most negative tactic possible. The 4-4-2 partner with the part of the bus is OP as hell. It is official. The big question, though, going into Season 9 is, can we do it in the Champions League? I mean, if Arsenal can win the freaking Champions League beating City to do it, we've certainly got it in us to do it as well. Especially now that the board is officially behind us. If they give us a lot of money next year, we're definitely going to make it quite far in the UCL. And we've been given a lot of money, guys. 133 million overall. I mean, to be fair, we have sold Igor for 12.5 million purely because he's 33 years old. We're not going to get much more out of him, are we? But with that kind of money, we can legitimately turn Forest Green Rovers into a contender to win the UCL, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. Because in my opinion, we just need two positions sorted. First, we need a stronger centre-half than Anja Husu, and we need a better centre midfielder than Bobby Clark. And once those two positions are sorted out, I absolutely feel like we are ready to take on the UCL. And guys, I'm not mucking around at all. I'm going for Archie Gray from Roma. Only 25, but already that good. And following him is centre-back Coney De Winter from Wolves. He's still only 29 years old, but he's 85 rated, and he's going to take us to that next level defensively. And just like that, for the total sum amount of 124 million, we signed both of these players on 4-year deals. And this is the God's honest truth. I absolutely feel like we stand a chance to win the UCL this year, man. We are so balanced everywhere on the pitch. I mean, there's literally no reason why we can't do it first time. I mean, we should at least make it out of the group stage, as we're in Group C alongside Dortmund, Shakhtar and Bodo Glimt. Literally everything is going in our favour so far in Season 9, man. I've at least done all I can. It's now up to these boys to do it on the pitch. And guys, I cannot believe it. We're officially the best team in England. We've won the Premier League by 2 points. Get in! I mean, it's only taken us 9 years to do it, but like I've said before, better late than never, isn't it? We've, however, had a nightmare in the FA Cup, losing 2-0 to bloody Millwall in round 3. And we lost at Brentford in round 4 of the Carabao Cup. Honestly, we might have won the Premier League, but this just isn't good enough. But this definitely is. We've topped Group C pretty damn easily in the end. And we've easily got past Sevilla in the round of 16. And we've beaten Newcastle in the quarters. We could be playing Man City, Arsenal or Bayern. Out of those three teams, I really do not know who I prefer to come up against. I can't believe it. We're in the final after beating Man City 4-3 on aggregate. We may actually do it the first time we're in this competition. I mean, we are playing Bayern in the final. That's not going to be an easy game, but it's not like we've got a bad team, is it? But then again, theirs isn't a bad team either. Look at the state of that. Then again, that back four isn't exactly amazing, so that could be our way in, especially with how well our strikers have been playing. Look at this, man. 33-4 for Palmer Holden, 25-2 for Abilene, 19-7 for Bloxham, and 13-3 for Herman. And we've also got to shout Matteo Sanabria out. 24 assists this year. That's phenomenal. And so is the team going into the Champions League final against Bayern. I can't believe we've done so well with such a defensive-minded attitude. A 4-4-2 flat with part of the boss tactics is overpowered as hell. And I'm very aware that we haven't won many trophies up to this point, but we have won playoff finals in the Championship and in League One, and most recently we've won the Premier League. But now we have the chance to win an even bigger trophy at club level, the Champions League. All we got to do is beat the juggernauts from Germany to do it. These tiles on the ball. That is a phenomenal interception. De Winter, what a defender, lad. Here comes Tell once again. Once again, Gertrude, fair play. We're defending well. I'll say this though, we're not attacking well. This 4-4-2 flat part of the bus tactical vision might be good defensively, but attacking wise, it is absolutely dog shit. But here we come. Actually, that's our first attack of the game, and it's the first freaking goal of the game. What a finish! That was our free agent signing from God knows how long ago now. Abilene, what a goal to put us 1-0 off. Just as I was slagging off the formation and tactics, it comes in clutch for us. Beautiful timing. Sanabria is on the ball now. Look at the space he's got down the left-hand side of the pitch. We're going to utilise this space to all we've got. Oh my God, we could cut this back. That could be an amazing goal. That is a phenomenal save. Blocks him as on the ball. I did not realise how quick he was, or how clumsy he was, to be fair. What was that? But here we are in the second half. We are 1 goal there, but that could change any time. Oh my days. Oh no, what am I doing? What is that defending, you absolute moron? You did the bloody hard bit. You intercepted him. You freaking let him get the ball off you there because you're a donkey and you freaking concede because of it. Oh, I can't get over that, man. What was that for defending? Here they come once again on the attack. Nico Williams, and that is 2-1. Oh my God, Bayern Munich have just torn us apart for fun there. Honestly, I think I'd have preferred to play City in the final than Bayern, because Bayern are another level at the minute. But it's now our turn to attack. Now that we've got Sanabria on the ball, we've got Ikazarimi. Look at this. This could be 2-1. Oh, that's a great stop. But here we've got Palmer Holden on the ball. We're going to cut this inside once again. We've got a bit of room on the left foot. Look at that for a goal. I don't even know who that is, but that was a phenomenal finish. I think that is once again Abilene. Phenomenal work from Palmer Holden on the right-hand side of the pitch. Abilene's left foot, though. What a rifle on him. All square once again. There's literally nothing between us at the minute, man. Bayern Munich and ourselves are so evenly matched. Here comes Nico Williams once again using that pace. We also have... Oh, my God. Look at that. Gertruda, please put a foot in. Thank you. Oh my days. Nico Williams. Jesus Christ above almost ended me right there. Oh, that's a beautiful ball. Abilene, he's one-on-one with the keeper. He's slotted it away for his hat-trick. 5 minutes to go as well. I've just realised it's in the 84th minute. Ladies and gents, is that the goal that wins us the Champions League? Oh my God, we just messed up a bit of play, but Abilene, right space, right spot, right time. Get in the back of their net, son. But we've got to defend now. Oh my God, the winter. That was amazing. Blocks him. Is coming forward now. He's past his man. He's coming forward down the right-hand side of the pitch. Can we get a third tier? Once and for all, seal the deal for this game. No, we freaking can't, because the defender got a foot in, but that should be it. That is it. Mission accomplished with Forest Green Rovers. We have officially made England's worst team the world's best. But let me tell you, that was not easy. 9 years in total it took us to get them from rock bottom of League 2 to the top of the bleeding world, but eventually we pulled it off. But that is our job done and dusted with Forest Green Rovers. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more stuff like this, be sure to leave this video a big old thumbs up and smash that subscribe button if you're new. And whilst you're still here, guys, you may as well click this video right here, because this is a banger as well.